Hey everyone, I'm Sam from cosplay. In this video I'm going to show you how I sealed the superbuu torso and head in preparation for painting. I'm going to be coating the suit in creature cast rubber. This is their Superflex off-white version, and I'm going to be spraying it through a critter gun, but first I need to thicken it a little bit. So I'm going to pour some of it into a mason jar, and then I'm going to add a little bit of the Neo-Thix they offer, which is a thickener for it. And I'm also going to add some paint. So I got a few different pink Angelus paints. These are like flexible leather paint. And lately I've been painting things from dark to light. So I guess we'll go with the darkest one, which is this one. And we'll add a little bit of that as well. I haven't added paint to Creature Cast before because in the past I've only used the black version of it. But I've seen other people do it, just not positive how much paint to add. So I'm going to go with a small amount at first. And we're going to stir this up. Thinking probably a little more paint than that. I think that's decent. So now I'm actually going to put the lid on the mason jar and shake it up. Make sure it's well mixed, and then I'm going to strain it into a second mason jar just to make sure there aren't going to be any clumps. I'm going to wipe off this lid so it doesn't dry with a layer of creature cast on it. Shaking it up does make it really bubbly, so sometimes I'll wait till the bubbles die down. Once that's shook up, to strain it into our other jar, I'm going to use this like tiny kitchen sieve type thing, which is the perfect size for a mason jar. And I also have this paint strainer, so I think I'm going to do both just to make sure there's really no clumps. This one, the mesh on the kitchen sieve is a little bit more open than this paint strainer, so hopefully it'll catch any big clumps and the cloth will catch any smaller clumps. I'm just going to slowly pour it in there. And I'm going to be spraying this through a compressor. If you're just brushing it on, probably don't need to do all this. You can just brush it. And then I'm going to put a lid on this and go clean out my other jar with some water real quick. Here you can see the little particles the strainer caught. So I'm going to be using a compressor to spray the creature cast through this critter gun. I'm also going to have this just air blowing attachment on hand in case there are any clogs. So if I get any clogs throughout the process, I'm going to unhook the critter gun and unscrew the mason jar, and I'm just going to blow air down through this nozzle here, and it will shoot any clogs out the end of the tube. I usually have an extra piece of cardboard nearby so I can just shoot any clogs out onto that so it's not just in the yard or whatever. So I'm spraying the creature cast at 90 psi. It's about 80 degrees out today, so it's going to dry pretty quick. So I'm just going to keep laying down coats until it's mostly covered. Alright, I've done about 4 coats. I got to the end of my mason jar, so swapped it out for another one. The front's almost covered all the way. Once it is, I'll flip it over, but I can still see some patchy spots, so I'm going to keep coating it. Okay, the front's pretty consistently coated. The color of it isn't super consistent, but that's okay. So now I'm going to flip it over and do the back. You can see the difference in how pale the back is. Ended up having to mix up a third batch of creature cast. But I'm almost done with the back. I think front I did 4 or 5 coats. So far I've done 2 coats on the back, so a couple more. Okay, I got about 5 coats on each side of Boo. Then I decided to call it there and come inside and I'll assess it later. But after you're done with your creature casting, if you're using the critter gun, you need to clean this off. So you can save your mason jar creature cast by just putting the lid on it. And then I have like a Tupperware thing that I rest my critter gun in when it's dirty. So now we got to take this apart and clean it. So you just got to unscrew this little top nozzle and take off this spring. And then I'll wipe this off with a paper towel. And then we unscrew this, and there's a little nut there. So then I just clean all this off with water, and I usually run like a fuzzy pipe cleaner through the tube here. That way I know there's no creature cast dried in there. Ideally you'd clean it relatively soon after using it, so it's easier for everything to come off. That's what I do, at least. So I'm going to take this upstairs and do that. So I'm just going to run this fuzzy pipe cleaner through here. You can see it helps get out some of the gunk stuck in there. So the suit's all coated, but unfortunately there are some spots with little lumpies, a bit more prominent up here on the shoulder. The little lumpies are throughout here and there. Kind of hard to see on the camera, but they're there. There, we can see them a little better with that setting on the camera. I'm going to try to remove these by using a Persona blade and kind of shaving them off. I was going to put another coat of rubber on this after shaving off the little lumpies, but it's been raining for like 2 weeks, so I can't really go outside and spray it. I'm just going to brush it on. I have a piece of upholstery foam here that I've cut to shape, and I'm just going to dip it in my jar of rubber with the flat end, and then once I brush it on there, I'm going to use this tapered end to make sure there aren't a ton of brush strokes. So that any of these spots where it's bubbling up or I can see some brush strokes, I'm just going to take my tapered end and flip it back and forth until it looks pretty even. So then we'll let that dry, and then I'll apply another coat. Could also use the hair dryer to speed up the drying. Okay, I've got a couple more coats on this now, so it's not quite as sticky, because once the creature cast is dry, it has a little bit of a stickiness to it. It has a tendency to like collect dust and hair and things. I'm gonna brush it down with some baby powder just to take off the stickiness. Then to remove any excess powder, I'm just going to use some compressed air. I got the seams of the boo head in a decent spot from filling and sanding them with a quick seal, so I think it's ready to be coated in rubber. And since it's been raining and junk a whole bunch, I'm just going to do it inside, similar to how I put additional coats on the body. Got a bunch of foam bits cut up in preparation for that, and I'm just using the creature cast straight out of the jug, unthickened or anything, so it's pretty thin, so I can try to get thin enough coats. I have this on the edge of the table so that the tentacle doesn't scrape on the edge. I should also note I tested this on a scrap piece of foam first. It's always a good idea to test on a scrap before potentially ruining your main piece. The scrap didn't have any quick seal on it though, so hopefully that doesn't really affect it, but we'll see. So I'm going to dip the edge of this in the jar, and I'm going to rub it on here. And I'm not super worried about coating the entire thing all at once. I'm just worried about making sure it's not going to have weird pooling spots. So then I'm going to take the other end. I cut these in triangles, by the way. And I'm going to do this and disperse it so it's very thin and there's no spots where it's pooled up and no like sponge stroke looking spots. So that looks pretty good. It's hard to tell on camera that it's on there. So then I'm just going to continue with that. I was going to delete all this, but I think it's probably good to show. It didn't work. I put the creature cast on, I smoothed it out, it looked fine, but then it got like bubbly spots on it. So then I was like, I can just sand these off real quick, it'll be fine. But then it started peeling up everywhere, which of course it would because it's a layer of rubber, which was fine. I was like, I'll just sand the whole thing. Then I got to the foam clay bits and those started peeling up. You can kind of see there's like a little step around here now. That's gonna be a relatively obvious divot if I just coat it again. So I'm gonna try to patch this with quick seal. It's kind of hard to see on the camera, the little step. It's definitely there. You can feel it for sure. Then in here, in here, just a chunk just fell out. Just a chunk of foam clay just fell out. What was that? So, they could patch it with more foam clay, but I don't like foam clay that much, to be honest. You just have to be careful with the water, or usually you use water to smooth out the quick seal. The water is going to make the foam clay soft again. And just by feathering the edges with the spatula, like it's fine on flat spots like that, but then on round spots like this, it's gonna a little bit more finessing to round it over. Okay, then I'll let that dry and then I'll sand it. While we're doing that, let's do a test piece of foam. Got a little scrap of foam here. I made a little cut in it. Let's fill this little cut with some quick seal, and then I can test the creature cast on that, and we'll see if the quick seal messes it up at all or causes it to like pool differently. Alright, I've got the bits on the head patched. Now I'm going to do a test, and this time it's definitely going to work. Not going to have any issues. Alright, that one doesn't look like it's going all weird or anything, so I'm going to let that sit for a couple minutes, make sure it sets up okay, and then we'll test it on an inconspicuous part of the head this time. I'll let it sit for a couple minutes. It is starting to pull up weird on the quick seal. You can see it there. So let's... Yeah, and at that point I can't spread it anymore. Even though it can still be spread on the foam, it looks like. On the bits with the quick seal, it's like formed a little skin. Let that dry all the way, and then we'll take another look at it. Here it is dry. You can see on the foam itself, it's pretty smooth. Not all the pores are filled in yet, but no weird lumps or anything. But then over here on the quick seal, we got a big lump of rubber, and then where I tried to smooth it out again once I saw the lumps forming, like that weird peeling looking situation again. So yeah, even though I did the test before just on foam, I wasn't anticipating it reacting differently to quick seal. I don't know if it's just the way it's applied. Maybe I won't be able to brush this on. I'm gonna make another test piece and then we'll take it from there. Alright, for this next test, we're gonna try the thickened and tinted feature cast and see if that does anything different. So this one I let dry on its own. It came out a little bit inconsistent around the quick seal up here. This one I brushed on and then used the hair dryer on immediately after. Came out a bit better, but you can see a little bit of the brush strokey texture. The lines going this way, which isn't a huge deal, but I wonder if that'll pick up a bunch when I paint it. So I'm still not 100% if I want to try to keep doing the quick seal or if I want to coat this in Flex Bond instead. The only concern with Flex Bond would be if it will crack when I try to put it on my head. Here's a foot from a Titanfall costume I did, and this was coated in Flex Bond. So let's stretch this toe out and see if it will crack. And if it does, well then I guess my Titanfall toe was cracked, but I never really wore this to a con or anything anyway, so... Doing my best to stretch it. It's not really... Doesn't really seem to be doing anything. Yeah, the Flex Bond will be alright. I mean, it didn't seem to want to crack when I was stretching it, but this is slightly thicker foam. It's not that much thicker. It's only 2 millimeters thicker than the other one, so maybe this is the way to go since I know it won't come out funny. And I know it'll work well on foam clay. I didn't do a foam clay test on these pieces because foam clay takes forever to dry. I think I'm just going to go with Flex Bond because I know it'll work and I can do it in the kitchen and watch TV or something while I do it. So, I'm just going to pour some in my little paint dish, and I'm also going to add some of this Angelus paint to it to tint it. And I'll mix it with this little spatula. That might be too much Angelus paint, I'm not sure. Okay, this should be good. Now we're gonna brush it on. Let's start at the tail. Hold on, let's hang this off the table. Wait. The old boo head is awkward to manipulate. We'll just lay him on his side. There. And like the gauntlets and stuff, I'm dipping my brush in water periodically to keep it pretty thin. Oh, that's too thin. So I'm not going to film this entire process, but we'll check back in on this. The first coat of Flex Bond has dried. The pink's a little bit splotchy on it currently, but I think that'll be alright. It's going to be painted later anyway. For the next one, I'm going to do just the layer without paint, just because I don't want to take the time to mix it, and then probably for the layer after that, I'll do paint again. I should note, I actually cut the foam out of the holes that I glued in there before. One, because someone in the comments, I think it was Alpha Proto, said, "Why'd you cover the hole? Won't that make it more hot and whatnot?" Probably. That's probably true. But also having the little squares on there were very uncomfortable on my head. They felt like they were poking me in the head. So that's why those are now open. I've got 7 or 8 coats of the Flex Bond on the boo head. Now I'm going to go over it with some 220 grit sandpaper, just to even out the finish and knock down any little rough bits or spots where something got caught in the glue maybe. That's going to do it for this video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, consider liking and subscribing. Leave a comment down below. Follow me on social media, and I'll see you next time.